Hello, good afternoon, good Sunday to you all. It's your girl, Dare to Be Rare. This is Jackie, and I'm back with another video. Today, I just wanted to sit down and have a little chat with you all. And today is Sunday, like I said, and one of my days off, and got to get ready to go back to work tomorrow. But today, I wanted to have a chat with you about power of attorney, getting power of attorney. And for those of you who have watched a few of my videos, and I'm hoping you've been watching, I'm still on the road to building up my subscribers. And I told you all this is the variety channel, so you could come here and I could be talking about any number of things. I have not set a certain niche, but my niche is not having a niche, a niche, or whatever they want to call it. But anyway, I just wanted to talk to you all about getting power of attorney. Now, I didn't realize how you really needed that. I always knew, well, I kind of thought that, okay, like say if your husband was in the military, and I know if your husband travels and he's in the military, that you would need it, because he's out to sea and you have to handle certain things. But I was ignorant to the fact that, because I thought, because me and my husband were together, we're on the same life insurance policy, we share the same address, we're on the same health insurance, everything. We do have a joint account. We also have separate accounts, and I just took for granted that by me being his wife, if something was to happen to him, I would be able to handle it. If something was to happen to me, that he would be able to handle it. I thought I would need that, like in the case of, say something happened to both of us, and my kids would need it in order to handle, our business if something happens to us. But lo and behold, I had no idea that I would need power of attorney to handle things for my own husband. I mean, not my boyfriend. I mean, you would think like, okay, he's not my partner per se. They always say partner, my partner, when it's not, like the actual spouse. So they use the word partner. So he's my partner, but he is my husband. We have a marriage license and everything. But I tell you, I learned so much in the past year and a half, because last March of 2023, my husband suffered a massive stroke. And when I say massive, it was a blood clot to his brain. And the first thing he lost was his speech. I would have never thought that he would have lost his speech. So he had the blood clot, rushed into the hospital and everything, and he ended up having to be flown to another hospital because they did an MRI while he was in the emergency room and found out that he had a blood clot. But they say they had a specialist who specialized in removing the blood clot, and they were like pretty much certain that they would be able to remove it. So they flew him to the hospital. And, the surgeon, of course, they had to get my permission in order to do it. But they asked, do you have power of attorney? Do you have a living will? And so if you don't have power of attorney, from what I understand, and maybe it's in the state of North Carolina, the doctor could actually make decisions that I wouldn't even be able to make as his spouse. Anyway, so they did the surgery, and while moving the blood clot, because the clot was lodged in his brain a certain way, and unbeknown to us, he had scar tissue from a previous stroke that we had no idea that he had. So they went to remove the blood clot, and when they were trying to get a certain part of the clot out, it caused bleeding in the brain. And the space between, well, I know now the space between the brain and the skull is very, very thin. So when that blood drains down, it doesn't even have to be a lot of blood, but when the brain bleeds, it causes the skull, the brain to swell. And so that caused his brain to swell. And we have Blue Cross and Blue Shield federal employee insurance. And so when they contacted me, with my husband being in the ICU, and, I'm skipping some steps, because the video is about having power of attorney. But when the representative called me, because they have these new things now where you actually have like, I'll say an administrator or a care person that calls you, which I was glad about that, because they kind of help walk you through what the insurance will cover. You have somebody that's kind of supporting you and telling you, the different things that you would need, information that you would need to get from the doctor, to proceed further with certain things they might want to do. But she asked me, did I have power of attorney, and did I have a HIPAA form signed by my husband that gives me permission to have his medical information? And I was like, yeah. So she said, well, I don't see one on file, but I did not know that you needed it also for the health insurance. Now, like I said, I'm in North Carolina. I don't know how the rules work anywhere else, but they told me that I needed a signed HIPAA form, and mainly because the lady is dealing with me over the telephone, right? That we're supposed to have a HIPAA form on file with the health insurance. Now, let me tell you what. I done had the same health insurance. I know that had to be for over 20 years. Have never had anybody to tell me that I needed a HIPAA form. And I don't know whether it was because he couldn't speak or he was in intensive care. Because prior to this, because he was in a hospital for heart surgery, but he was able to talk. So, maybe that's the difference. But what I'm telling you is that the number one reason why you need power of attorney, don't wait until something happened, because I would have never thought that my husband would lose his ability to talk. He was not confident. He was not conscious. They had him under sedatives and drugs because of the brain swelling. He needed to, they didn't want him to get excited. They wanted him to be able to rest. So they gave him to the drugs so that he would be able to, I would say they put him in a medically induced coma, if you want to call it that. And so he was not able to even, the last thing he said in the emergency room, they asked him what was his name. And he spoke his name not clearly. And from then, he has not been able to talk. Now, it's been 1.5 years, and he still cannot talk. And when I'm say talking, I'm talking about like you and I would carry on a conversation like I'm saying this to you now. He's had speech therapy, and he has what they call aphasia, right? Aphasia is when you cannot speak, the words won't form. And there's a couple of types of aphasia, which maybe, I'll do another video about the different types of aphasia. But all this stuff can be Googled if you, want to look it up. But he has global aphasia, which means he has problems, a little bit of understanding and problems forming, I guess, connecting the words, right? Like I can say, open your mouth. And at first, he didn't even understand like what that meant, like to open his mouth. Even though he could open his mouth, but he couldn't follow the command to open his mouth. It didn't register, like in his brain, it didn't register. And it's something to have to go through and see that. And believe me, I don't want to make this a stroke channel, a sad channel, or anything like that. I'm just telling you because of my own experience to get power of attorney now so that you can make these decisions if something was to happen to your spouse where they can't make the decision. And this is the kicker. Once they cannot speak, once they are not conscious, and it's not just talking, it's like even understanding, right? So not only could my husband not speak, but he didn't have the cognitive ability to even give me power of attorney. He couldn't nod his head yes or no. That could not connect in his brain. So he couldn't even say, like if someone's to say, Mr. Carey, do you give your wife permission? He couldn't do that. He couldn't even do that, right? And I almost could not make decisions for him. So I was like, well, what's the point of us being married? I thought that's the point of having a wife. I said, we both on the same insurance. We got the same address. We don't live apart. We're not separated. But the laws, let me tell you what, if you're a crook, you can make it out here. But if you trying to do things the right way, it is harder and harder to try to do things in the proper way. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, what was the point of me being married? I mean, in this case, I could be a girlfriend, a partner, because I still have to have paperwork. Even though I had a marriage license and all that, you still have to have that paperwork in order to be able to make those decisions. So get power of attorney now. If you have separate bank accounts, get power of attorney now. Sit down, talk it out with that person. And it's certain rules. I mean, like if the person is afraid to give you power of attorney because they think you're going to be able to go in their account right now, it doesn't work like that. The power of attorney is only if they cannot make that choice and you can elect what you want them to have power of attorney over, right? So y'all men don't want your wife seeing your money, it's like this ain't the time to be private, because I'm telling you, when these situations happen, you're basically stuck. You're basically stuck, right? So because of that person, you're going to have to wait. If that person cannot make those decisions, you're going to have to wait until they can make that decision. And what if they never can? What if they are totally out of it for a year or more? Now, my husband, it took him over a year before he could really understand to even nod his head. I had to get a, Lord have mercy, what I want to say. I had to get a notary to come here, to come to my house and to talk to him to get power of attorney for me to be able to handle business. I couldn't even pay his credit card bills because he had his own separate credit card bills. I had my own bills, and I called the bank to try to pay on his credit card. And you know how they ask you to verify your name? Now, I didn't have his passwords. So this is what I'm telling you. If you're trying to be secretive and you don't want that person to know stuff, why are you with them? Why are you with a person that you feel like you can't trust with your business? You need to be with somebody that you feel like you can trust, because if you don't, it's going to be a mess if something was to happen. Now, I'm not saying nothing is going to happen, right? But just in case it do. I mean, it's just like car insurance. Are you planning on getting a car accident? No. But you still have car insurance just in case you do. You'll be insured. So this is what I'm telling you about the power of attorney. You need to get the power of attorney so that you will be able to make those decisions. Hold on. So the first reason is you can't make decisions for that person if they're not cognitive. You don't know what life is going to bring you, so you need to have that done. And then it's going to make your life so much easier in the event that something like this happens. I hope it don't. I didn't want it to happen to me. I didn't think it would happen to me, but it did. And you can learn from me. I'm telling you. Take care of that business as soon as possible. Because if you don't, you're going to be out of luck. You ain't going to be able to handle their business. You ain't going to be able to handle the bank account. You ain't going to be able to transfer money. You ain't going to be able to do nothing. Have a notebook where you're writing down passwords, PIN numbers, and all of that stuff, so that in the event that something happens like this, that you will be able to handle their business. Now, my husband probably wouldn't have been the way I am, because you know how women are, okay? And I don't want to stereotype, but we find a way. We find a way. I had to dig through his papers. I had to go through and find his credit cards, call the credit cards to see if they were set up on auto pay so that his credit card bills wouldn't go behind, because I'm thinking, okay, in a few months, he'll be back up talking, so I don't want his, bills to go behind. And so if you call and talk to a person, a live person, and you're not that, I'm not him and don't know passwords and stuff, you're not going to get no help, because they're going to say, we need to speak to the owner of the credit card. And I want to say, well, do you want your money or you don't? Because he might not be able to. I mean, I could just let the bills go behind and not get paid. And what would they do? Because he couldn't give them permission. He couldn't even give me, suppose I didn't know, like what I'm saying about PIN numbers and passwords, right? To this day, I do not know the password to his computer. He has a Mac computer that's just sitting here. That I would probably have to go to the Mac office. I tried to get in that computer, but without that power of attorney, I could not do anything. Could not handle anything. The only things that we had that were joined together was I was able to handle those. So I'm just telling you to get this done. Handle your business, people. Don't be like me. Handle your business. So everything is happening, what they say, for me and not to me. So maybe this happened for me so that I can pass this information on to you. So try to learn from me. I'm sorry if there's a glare, because I have the window behind me trying to use a natural light. I got a little lamp on too, but I just wanted to share this information. Plus, I'm trying to just keep posting. On Sundays, I kind of like to relax, walk around in my PJs, because I still have to do everything for my husband. And when I tell you everything, I mean everything. Take him to the bathroom, change his clothes, comb his hair, give him his haircut, shave him, brush his teeth, everything. I'm still doing everything. And you just never know. But what do they say? To death do us part, for richer or poor, for better or worse, right? And so this is what I'm doing. I'm doing it for the better or worse, for richer or poor, to death do we part. Yes, and hoping I don't have to put them in a nursing home. And do you know, nursing homes in North Carolina are $7,000 to $10,000 a month if you don't have Medicaid or some kind of Social Security disability. And that's a whole nother thing, because the way my husband's job worked, he did not have to pay into Social Security, therefore he don't get Social Security. Now, he could have worked another job and build up Social Security, which he did have some quarters, but not enough to be able to collect Social Security. It's so many rules around things. So find out for yourself, because everybody's situation is different. I'm just telling you my situation. Like people used to tell me, oh, he can get Medicaid, he can do this. Let me tell you, no, he couldn't. Believe me, I done checked into everything. And that's why you have to find out for yourself. Only thing we can do, anybody on YouTube can only share with you their experience. Or if somebody has told them something, maybe they can share that person's experience. But it doesn't mean that your experience is going to work like that. And just like I'm saying now, okay, hopefully nobody will have any kind of condition where they, that you have to be involved where they can't speak. And it don't have to be a stroke. A stroke. It can be a injury. They can fall off a bike, anything, any kind of trauma to the brain that will keep a person. And I notice now people are developing diseases later on in life, MSA, Parkinson's disease. It's a lot. ALS is a lot of things that's happening, that people's health is declining so quickly and unexpected. And some of these things are coming on us as we get older in life. I'm 60. My husband's 63. He had the stroke when he was 61. And I just would have never imagined that this would have happened. So learn from me. I love y'all. YouTube's so wonderful because we can share our experiences. We can share the things that we've learned, and you can do further research. Just don't take my word for it. Look into your own situation. Look into your what if. I'm not saying plan for disaster, but don't let disaster catch you off guard either, right? And we can't plan for everything. I'm not saying attract that to you, but what I'm saying is everybody has their own journey, and someone connected to you could experience something that you will have to help them with, right? So, family, I just wanted to say, get power of attorney right now while the person can open their mouth and give it to you. Because when I called the lawyer, I was told if they cannot give it to me, that there's no way I could get it. I would have to go to the court, and they would have to assign a trustee. I'm not even sure what the technical, name is for it, but they would be a guardian. They would assign somebody to be over the decisions. I still wouldn't be able to make the decisions, and that person would make the decisions in the interest of him. It's like I'll be a third party, basically, and I'm the wife. I'm the effing wife. So, all right. So, just wanted to say happy Sunday, and check that information out. Like I said, 3 reasons why you need power of attorney now. Number 1, you can't make decisions for that person if that person is not cognitive. 2, you don't know what life is going to bring you. And 3, it's going to make your life a lot easier in the event that something like this happen, if you go ahead and get it now and have it on file. And you don't have to go through a lawyer. You can download the papers, power of attorney for whatever, state. Go to your state and look at their forms, power of attorney forms, download that form, fill it out. Both of y'all fill it out, sign it, and have it notarized, and keep it in a safe place, so that in the event that something happened to either one of y'all, it could be your husband, your wife, your children, your partner, your mother, anybody that you might have to end up being responsible for them, or they need you to make those decisions for him. In the event that something like this happened, that you will be ready. All right? Have a wonderful week coming up, and I hope to make another video, and I love you. And thank you for allowing me to do this, because if you're listening to this, that means you're looking at my video, and I appreciate you so much. This is your girl, Dare to Be Rare. Have a wonderful day.